LET Review New Curriculum, Science Major, Part 1.3, 50 Actual LET Questions. This is JM Pedagogical Blog Review. Disclaimer, no copyright infringement intended for educational purposes only. Direction, you may get a piece of paper and a pen to answer. A 10 to 20 seconds timer is allotted for each question. Make sure to answer all the questions honestly, and do not hesitate to finish this video, for you are the next licensed professional teacher. Okay, let's get started. According to Newton's first law of motion, also known as the law of inertia, an object in motion will continue to move at a constant velocity if the sum of all forces acting on it is zero. This means that if no net force is acting on the object, it will not accelerate or decelerate, and it will maintain its current state of motion. As Butch throws the baseball into the air, the kinetic energy of motion, decreases as the baseball slows down due to gravity. Simultaneously, this kinetic energy is converted into potential energy stored due to height, as the baseball gains altitude. The conversion from kinetic to potential energy begins while the baseball is rising and continues until it reaches its greatest height, where all the kinetic energy from the upward motion has been converted into potential energy. Temperature is a measure of the average kinetic energy of the molecules in a substance. It reflects how fast the molecules are moving, which correlates to the substance's thermal energy. This scenario is a classic example of the twin paradox in the theory of relativity. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, time passes more slowly for an object in motion compared to an object at rest. Since Elizabeth traveled at high speed, time would have passed more slowly for her compared to Elaine, who stayed on Earth. As a result, when Elizabeth returns home, she will be younger than Elaine, who would have aged more during Elizabeth's journey. Freshwater is produced in the hydrologic cycle primarily through the process of condensation. When water vapor in the air cools down, it condenses into water droplets, forming clouds. These droplets can then fall to the ground as precipitation, rain, snow, sleet, or hail, providing fresh water. The hydrologic cycle directly impacts all other biogeochemical cycles. Water is a key medium for transporting nutrients and elements like carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus through ecosystems. For example, carbon cycle, water facilitates the dissolution of carbon dioxide into oceans and supports photosynthesis in plants. Nitrogen cycle, water helps transport nitrogen compounds through soil and waterways. Phosphorus cycle, water moves phosphorus from rocks and soil into aquatic systems. Density is an intrinsic property of a substance, meaning it doesn't change regardless of the amount of the substance. Whether it's a lake full of water or a cup full of water, the density of the water remains the same. Density is determined by the mass of the water per unit volume, and this ratio stays constant regardless of the quantity of water. Ichthyology is the branch of zoology that focuses on the study of fish. It encompasses various aspects of fish biology, including their classification, structure, physiology, behavior, and ecology. Water's ability to dissolve a wide variety of substances is crucial for the functioning of organisms at the molecular level. This property allows it to act as a solvent in biological reactions, transporting nutrients, gases, and waste products in and out of cells. Water's versatility as a solvent is fundamental to processes such as digestion, cellular respiration, and biochemical reactions within living organisms. An adult human body typically has 206 bones. This number can vary slightly due to factors like the presence of additional small bones called sesamoid bones, which can develop in tendons. The hilum is a scar on the seed that marks the point where the seed was attached to the ovary wall and also where the pollen tube entered during fertilization. It's an important feature in identifying seeds. Chemiosmosis is the process by which ATP is produced in the mitochondria and chloroplasts. During chemiosmosis, hydrogen ions, protons, move through a membrane via ATP synthase, which generates ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate. This movement of protons across the membrane is driven by a proton gradient established by the electron transport chain. The large intestine primarily functions to absorb water and electrolytes from indigestible food material, compact the remaining waste into feces, excrete undigested food and waste products through defecation. Biological magnification, also known as biomagnification, refers to the increasing concentration of toxic substances, such as chemicals, in organisms at higher trophic levels of the food chain. As these substances move up the food chain, they become more concentrated, posing a greater risk to top-level predators who may be most harmed by these toxins. One of the main causes of acid rain is the release of sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides into the atmosphere from burning fossil fuels like coal and oil. These gases react with water vapor in the atmosphere to form sulfuric acid and nitric acid, which then fall to the ground as acid rain. When a metal reacts with a nonmetal, the metal tends to lose electrons and the nonmetal tends to gain electrons. This transfer of electrons results in the formation of positive ions, cations, from the metal and negative ions, anions, from the nonmetal. The electrostatic attraction between these oppositely charged ions forms an ionic bond. Atmospheric pressure is caused by the weight of the air above a given point. At higher altitudes, such as in Baguio City, there is less air above, meaning fewer gas particles exert pressure. This results in lower atmospheric pressure compared to sea level. Temperature reflects the average kinetic energy of the molecules in a substance. It indicates how fast the particles are moving or vibrating on average. When coal is burned to produce electricity, the chemical potential energy in the coal is released as heat. This heat energy is then used to produce steam, which drives turbines to generate electricity. In a closed car inside a hot garage, the volume of the air inside the car remains constant, meaning there is no change in volume. This is characteristic of an isochoric process, also known as an isovolumetric process. As the temperature inside the car increases due to the heat from the garage, the pressure inside the car also increases, but the volume does not change. In a system at chemical equilibrium, the concentrations of reactants and products remain constant because the rate of the forward reaction equals the rate of the reverse reaction. Thus, the products and reactants are continuously converting back and forth, but their concentrations remain unchanged over time. Transpiration is the process by which water evaporates from the surface of plants, primarily through small openings on the leaves called stomata. This process plays a crucial role in cooling the plant by releasing heat, driving the movement of water and nutrients from the roots to other parts of the plant through the xylem, regulating gas exchange, as stomata also facilitate the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Adaptability is the most crucial factor for the success of an animal population. It refers to the ability of a species to adjust to changes in its environment, whether those changes are related to climate, availability of food, presence of predators, or other factors. Species that can adapt to a wide range of conditions are more likely to survive and thrive in the long term. Color blindness is often caused by a recessive gene located on the X chromosome. Men have one X and one Y chromosome, XY, while women have two X chromosomes, XX. A colorblind man with the affected X chromosome and a woman with normal vision and no history of the disease, indicating she has two normal X chromosomes, will pass on their genes to their children as follows. Daughters will inherit one X chromosome from their mother, normal vision, and one X chromosome from their father, affected by color blindness. As a result, they will be carriers, meaning they have one normal X chromosome and one affected X chromosome but will not express the condition themselves. Mutations caused by external factors, such as the Earth's natural radioactivity, are referred to as induced mutations. These mutations result from environmental agents like radiation, chemicals, and certain biological agents that cause changes in the DNA sequence of an organism. The hilum is the part of the seed that appears as a scar marking the entry of the pollen tube during fertilization. It's a small, noticeable mark on the seed coat where the seed was attached to the ovary wall. Behavioral adaptations are actions animals take or behaviors they exhibit to survive in their environments. Shedding leaves during summer is an example of a behavioral adaptation that helps plants reduce water loss and survive in hot, dry conditions. The other options are examples of physical or structural adaptations rather than behaviors. Fungi are not photosynthetic. They obtain their nutrients through absorption, often from decaying organic matter or through symbiotic relationships with other organisms. In contrast, photosynthesis is a process typically associated with plants, algae, and certain bacteria, where they convert light energy into chemical energy. I-8749, also known as the Philippine Clean Air Act of 1999, aims to manage air pollution and promote sustainable development. It focuses on preventing air pollution through various measures, including setting air quality standards, regulating emissions, and promoting the use of cleaner technologies. The Act addresses multiple aspects of air pollution management, sustainable development, and pollution prevention. A hypothesis is a prediction or educated guess that is made based on existing knowledge or observations. It's a statement that can be tested through experimentation or further investigation to determine its validity. The type of teeth can provide significant clues about the diet of a mammal. Herbivores typically have flat, grinding teeth for processing plant material, while carnivores have sharp, pointed teeth for tearing meat. Omnivores have a combination of both types of teeth, allowing them to process a variety of foods. This method is often used in paleontology to determine the diet of fossilized mammals. Nonmetals generally have low tensile strength, meaning they are not strong when stretched or pulled. They are often brittle, lack the malleability and ductility that metals have, and typically have lower densities compared to metals. These properties make non-metals suitable for different applications than metals. In an oxidation-reduction (redox) reaction, the oxidizing agent gains electrons and is reduced, while the reducing agent loses electrons and is oxidized. This is a fundamental concept in redox chemistry, where one substance is oxidized, loses electrons, and another is reduced, gains electrons. This apparatus is typically used in a process called water displacement, which measures the volume of an irregular solid by noting the difference in water levels before and after submerging the object. To measure the actual mass, though, you would use a balance or scale. As the temperature of a wire increases, its resistance also increases. This higher resistance reduces the current carrying ability of the wire because it becomes harder for the electric current to flow through it. This relationship is crucial in electrical engineering and electronics as it impacts the design and efficiency of electrical systems. Adsorption is the process in which molecules of a substance, such as gases or liquids, adhere to the surface of a solid material. In this case, charcoal adsorbs the odor-causing molecules from the air inside the refrigerator, effectively removing unpleasant smells. Polarization behavior of light is best explained by considering light to be transverse waves. In transverse waves, the oscillations are perpendicular to the direction of wave propagation, which allows for the orientation of the waves to be changed or polarized. Both Saturn and Jupiter rotate faster than the Earth. Despite their large sizes, they have much shorter rotation periods. Jupiter completes one rotation approximately every 10 hours, and Saturn takes about 10.7 hours for one rotation, both significantly shorter than Earth's 24-hour rotation period. Carbon primarily enters living organisms from the atmosphere in the form of carbon dioxide during processes such as photosynthesis. Plants, algae, and some bacteria absorb atmospheric CO to produce organic compounds like glucose. Respiration and feeding. Carbon is transferred through the food chain when organisms consume plants or other organisms. Lipids and fats are not typically composed of monomeric units in the same way that proteins, composed of amino acids, nucleic acids, composed of nucleotides, and carbohydrates, composed of monosaccharides are. While lipids are made up of smaller components like fatty acids and glycerol, they do not form long chains of repeating monomer units like the other biomolecules listed. Dipterocarp forests are the richest type of tropical rainforests in the Philippines. These forests are characterized by the dominance of Dipterocarp tree species, which include many valuable hardwoods. They are known for their biodiversity and dense vegetation, providing habitat to a wide variety of plant and animal species. Thrombocytes. Thrombocytes, also known as platelets, are the blood cells responsible for blood clotting. When a blood vessel is injured, platelets gather at the site of the injury and form a plug to help stop bleeding. They also release chemicals that activate the clotting cascade, which leads to the formation of a fibrin clot. During the dark reaction phase of photosynthesis, also known as the Calvin cycle, PGAL, phosphoglyceraldehyde, is the 3-carbon sugar that is formed. It is a crucial intermediate in the process of carbon fixation, where carbon dioxide is converted into organic molecules that the plant can use for energy and growth. If a species cannot adapt to changes in its environment, it is most likely to become extinct. Adaptation is crucial for survival because it allows organisms to cope with new or altered conditions. When species fail to adapt, they may not be able to find food, reproduce, or escape predators, leading to a decline in their population and eventual extinction. The walking stick insect uses protective coloration, also known as camouflage, to blend in with its surroundings, typically resembling twigs or branches. This adaptation helps it elude predators by making it difficult to detect in its natural environment. In an experiment, the manipulated variable, also known as the independent variable, is the condition that is deliberately introduced or changed by the researcher to observe its effect on the dependent variable. In multicellular vascular plants, the xylem is a specialized tissue responsible for transporting water and dissolved minerals from the roots to other parts of the plant, including the leaves where photosynthesis occurs. It also provides structural support to the plant. The phylum Arthropoda contains the largest number of different species, including insects, spiders, crustaceans, and centipedes. This phylum is incredibly diverse and accounts for the majority of all animal species on Earth. Burning fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gas for energy and transportation is the human activity that has added the most carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. This process releases significant amounts of carbon dioxide, contributing to the greenhouse effect and global warming. How many correct answers did you get from this review? You may share it on the comment box. I hope you got a passing score of 38 or above. Good luck LPT cutie, claim it. I would like to congratulate our March 2024 LET passers. Congratulations teachers, your sleepless nights and dedication were paid off. The next video will appear on screen, click it to watch, or you may choose the playlist for more related videos.